Recording. First. When was the last time we did this?
I don't know. I was thinking about that before we hopped on, and I was like, "What time? When was the last time?"
The hell is a podcast?
I don't know. Do people even listen to them anymore? Maintaining a work-life balance keeps getting harder, but it doesn't have to.
This is The Big Balance, a podcast for anyone struggling to stay ahead or even just keep up with work, life, and everything in between.
Join us each week for practical advice you can actually apply
to get a little sanity back in your day.
When we stop making it, people stop listening, right?
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, so it's been damn near a year. Maybe it has been a year.
Maybe it has.
As far as I know. But I will just check the host, and people, like, we're still getting downloads on all the episodes, and I felt bad. It's like these people are like, oh, they're getting real into the show. Suckers, the show's over. No, it's not. But it's like I don't know. But that's also the thing, though. Anybody who has been a long-time listener, who is in their podcast app of choice and is like, oh, I forgot about this show. They've been gone for a while. You and me have been gone for a while. But all these people who are still newly downloading, it's like this is like just the next week for them.
Well, lucky them. They picked the right time to listen.
Right, yeah.
And it was August. August of 2022 was the last episode. So
okay, so not a year.
Not a year, but felt like it.
I forgot how to do it. I'm going to be honest. I forgot everything I ever knew about podcasting, editing, or I probably sound like an idiot. I probably sound like dog shit.
Well, I think you're being generous assuming we knew anything about it.
That's fair, too. So it's been not a year, and where have these two idiots been? I want you to go first because you actually have interesting stuff that you've been up to in this interim, and I got boring stuff going on.
Well, I guess just for starters, looking at, I'm actually recording from a new room. We redid my office and I moved to a different room. I have a nice desk now, have my records on the wall. So I finally feel like I moved in. So that's
very executive feeling.
Yes. Oh yeah. I have my dual monitors over here. I look fancy as shit.
Nice.
I look like I know what I'm doing. But yeah, outside of that, you and I, we've mentioned this on the pod before, but yeah, my band has been recording again, and we actually signed a record deal, and I'm using that term generously again. But it's a small independent.
No, don't downplay that. That's awesome. That's a legit. You're living a dream that a lot of people with a guitar out there, like, man, if I only got a record deal.
Well, we feel very fortunate.
Don't short play that.
Yeah, it's a small independent label called Freedive Records, based out of Philly. Tyler is our producer, manager guy who runs the label. He's been awesome. So we've been recording with him for the last couple months, and we're just getting ready to announce our first new single. That actually, by the time this airs, it'll be a week out, most likely. So the 24th is when that'll be released. So 2 singles coming out. So 2 new songs. Excited about that.
And you've been like doing like a little tour kind of thing too, like going playing places.
I mean, we've been playing out as much as we can, but not as frequently as we'd like. The last gig we had booked, unfortunately, we had to cancel because somebody in the band got COVID. So what can you do?
Everybody,
we're going to be hitting it hard again.
COVID over Christmas. So we had a Christmas party. Like, we were all working remotely, and we had a Christmas party in the office. I couldn't go. I forget the reason I couldn't go, but I was unavailable. And I felt bad until the week after, where I found out everybody got COVID who went to this Christmas party.
Oh, and I remember I only got to do the Christmas party 1 year, but it was a good time. It was fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. But we've collectively, as not a company, as a country, we've let our guard down around COVID. We're like, I did my time in a mask. I got my shots. And now we're all just getting COVID because we stopped caring about it. So
yeah,
what do you do?
I mean, I got COVID on my honeymoon, so I can't talk. I've been living with it. What can you do?
And now we got like stomach viruses are going around a lot right now too. At least if you have kids in daycare.
Well, it was a couple months ago,
horrible.
monkeypox too, right? We all thought that was going to be, yeah.
Monkeypox, you got Ebola, all sorts of things. COVID and Ebola mixed, and it's a weird combo. It's like a really bad cocktail. It's not good.
I saw something on the internet the other day, and it was like, it's been a while since romaine's made us all just like regret buying lettuce. It's been a while since they really messed us up. So maybe there's a romaine Ebola outbreak that's bound to happen.
God, I don't know what the next thing is going to be, but hey, I mean, it COVID got us working from home, which is nice. So that's a count my blessing there.
I assume you're still fully work from home.
I am. We did go in, so we had a big company reorg, and we did a 3-day on-site at the corporate office. So I worked non-remotely.
So you had to go over the bridge, right?
I went over. I was in Jersey. I went over the bridge. It was weird, man, being back, but not bad. I'm gonna be kind of honest. It was nice seeing people. I did embarrass myself a little bit where coworker I've worked with for years had a good rapport. I thought I had a good rapport. He got married before this whole COVID thing, before the whole work from home thing. So I'm like, hey man, how you doing? You and the wife gonna have kids or anything? And he just looks at me and goes, I have a son. He's 4 months old. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna walk away now. I just work from home is great. It is not great for keeping up with people at all.
I mean, I don't think he could get too mad. Sorry, I'm not keeping tabs on what you're doing, and if you haven't worked on a project with him in a while, I mean, what can? I think that's totally a reasonable mistake to make.
Yeah. Well, I have not been up to interesting things. I think when we last were recording, actually no, the last recording we did was the night I packed up my desk to move out of my old house. I remember the moving boxes fondly. So I moved into a new house. I had a kid before the podcast. We took the hiatus, but he got.
Now you have
swing.
Another.
Well, I mean, I have 2 children, a baby who's almost a year. So between 2 kids, new house, I'm just tired. I'm just tired, man. So it kind of fell off the radar, and I felt bad, but it is good to be back.
Well, if it's any solace for any of the listeners that we have out there, we didn't, Brian and I didn't lose touch or have a fallout or anything like that. We've just both been busy, and having a second kid is enough of a reason to maybe say, hey, the podcast can take a little of a break. So since this is our first one back, Brian, I think now's as good a time as ever to let folks know that we're still here and we're still rocking, but we're going to go to a new schedule, which is going to be most likely a bi-weekly schedule, right? Assuming there's no catastrophes or anything like that.
A second record deal, a second album coming out, or oh god, I was about to say a third kid, and I physically.
I was just about to say, but you know what? What's more likely is my wife and I having a kid. But I can tell you right now that is not even 9 months out, because that requires somebody to be pregnant, and nobody is pregnant. So yes, not happening.
Actually, complete impromptu. I want to give a shout out real quick to any parents who have the number of children to outnumber themselves in a house.
Yeah.
It was one thing to have a toddler between the two of us. Having a toddler and a baby, and both of you are always on all the time. I cannot imagine having a third child. I don't know how you do it. My neighbor has a son and triplets.
Oh my god, triplets! That sounds brutal.
I don't know physically. I don't know how you get anything. I don't know how you keep your sanity. They outnumber you 2-1. What do you do?
So my sister and my brother-in-law, 3 girls under the age of 7. So yeah, they were in it. They were really going through it. I think they're on the upswing now, the upturn, we'll say, because Jules is going to be 7 soon, so she's starting to be a real person as opposed to a child.
Actually, did I tell you about the world's most ridiculous closing when I sold my house? I don't know if we even talked about that, because it was definitely after the podcast.
So this sounds familiar, but I don't think our listeners have heard it.
Yeah. So, and this also contributed to my just general weariness and needing just a break. So I know one thing we did talk about on the show was I was getting my house cleaned to sell it.
Yep.
Cleaning people ripped a pipe out, waterfall of water, huge damage. Had to get that fixed. So that was a pain in my ass. And then the buyers also chose to be a giant pain in my ass. So the reason I sold to these particular buyers was they came in above asking, waiving every contingency, buying it sight unseen, no stipulations at all. That's great, right? It's no stress for me. Contract also said you get 2 walkthroughs. So they go in the house once, they go in the house twice. They don't have any contingency, so it's not like if the thing was half on fire.
For
they're still
informational purposes, as they
right.
call it, right?
Yeah. So this is great. Getting ready to sell the house. Waterfall happens. That's not fun. Move past it. Get that fixed. Doing the walkthroughs. Immediately got a laundry list from their real estate agent. Like, hey, these windows are pretty old. Gonna need to knock some money off for that. And this board in the deck has a knot in it. I don't know if you knew that. And like 1,000 other tiny little.
Now, this is probably after the initial, what I don't know what they call it, the deposit. Basically,
yes.
You pay a fee, and then, but you've locked in the deal at this point. It's already been established that, yes, you're going to buy this house at this price, right?
Right. And like our realtor is like, you guys know what waiving contingencies and as is mean. Do the next walkthrough, and it's the exact same thing. Found a whole bunch of new things to nickel and dime to get the price down. We're like, no, not doing it. Closing is Friday. See you then. Day of closing arrives, and they say, we want one more walkthrough. It's like, okay, guys, I moved out of the house. Like, there's no electricity. There's no water.
Go in with a flashlight.
What do you got?
Water bottles.
Yeah, it's like you bring your flashlight, you know, you bring some matches, make some s'mores in the back. I don't know what to tell you. My realtor says, look, I'll go over there. I'll keep them on rails, and we will meet you at closing. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. All right, fine. Go with God. Go with them. Figure this out. I'll see you there. So 2:00 rolls around, time of the closing. I'm there. My realtor calls me and says, I'm on my way. I don't know if the buyers will be.
Talk about the most ominous phone call that you could ever get. What was your response to that?
Well, I didn't have one because the next immediate thing he said was, oh, wait, I got another call, and hung up. And I'm like, what?
Oh,
what
my God.
It was like, my house sale is in jeopardy. You're taking another call. It's like, I'm just sitting here in my car. Like, what is happening right now?
Thumb up my ass like a jackass.
Thumb up the ass. It's like, oh, God. So about 20 minutes rolls by. Guy gets there, my real estate agent. And I'm like, what is the deal? Oh, good phone call, by the way. Have a good time. All right, great. What is going on?
That was my bookie. I had to square away.
Turns out, so they get to the house. Again, I moved out like 2 days before. No lights, no electricity, no water, no nothing. And they're like, well, we can't test the stove to make sure it works. I don't know if this fridge
you
is
had two
even...
other walkthroughs to do that.
Right. That's what my realtor says. Like, what are you talking about? This is like, when you owe us walkthroughs. Like, no, you had 2. This is a courtesy third. What are you doing? So he's like, I will meet you at the closing. It is now. And hours went by. We are sitting in this real estate agent office for hours. It's like a half hour to 5. Banks are going to close. Like, if we're going to finish this deal, it needs to be now. Get a call from their real estate agent. They say, we noticed that the doors to the closets are not attached to the closet.
Oh my God, they're still like
now this is true.
Still nitpicking.
I had painted the rooms, and those closet doors were a bitch. I'm like, I sold the house as is. It as is without doors, so you can put your doors on the closet.
So you knew damn well exactly what they were referencing.
Oh, I do. Oh, no, it was a pain in the ass. So like we refuse to show for closing without some recompense for these closet doors not being on the closets. We need $50.
Are you
We
kidding
need
me?
$50 for these doors. We're walking. So my real estate agent pulls me out into the hall, gets real close, he crosses his arms, kind of starts nodding his head like, so what do you want to do? How do you want to play this? I'm like, the fuck are you talking? What do I want? I want to sell my house. You think I'm going to not sell the house for $50? No, I'm going to go to the nearest convenience store, make the most absurd ATM withdrawal of my life, and I will be back here with $50 to end this madness. It was insane.
Oh my god.
It was insane.
I just love I'm picturing
Like,
the agent, the realtor, just going. So what are you thinking?
No, he's like football coach. It's like fourth quarter. It's tied up. We have like one play left. We gotta make this Hail Mary play. What are we gonna do? This is not the Hail Mary you think it is, sir. I am not going to forget the sale over a $50 pissing contest. I will take $50 of piss and just to sell the house.
It's Varsity Blues, and Blue is about to die on the field or whatever happens, right?
So that's how I ended the giant circus that was the sale of that old house. I do not miss it, and here I am.
I think there's a moral of that story too, and it's don't piss away a deal for $50 when we're looking at a couple $100,000 deal.
I'm gonna be honest though, it's like the inclination to be petty and bitter was there, because it's like this you drag me through the mud, nickel and diming for weeks. You got to get one last screw you in. Your last $50 screw you at the bottom of the ninth. You really got to do
Here's
that.
what you should have countered with. We're not going to take the $50 off, but I will put in writing that I promise I will go and reattach those doors for you.
Fuck no. Here's my calculus. I futzed with those doors probably 2 hours trying to get them back. It was 2 rooms.
Wow.
With these. It was hard. It was a pain in the butt. It was frustrating.
You're the best handyman out there if you're working for $25 an hour.
Yeah, it's
right?
like 20. It's $25 an hour, $12.50 a door. $12.50 a door to put these doors back on. You know what? Go ahead. Go put those doors on. Here's your $12.50. You earned it. Take it.
And that's a great example of a risk analysis.
So
we are a business podcast.
So that's where we've been. John at least had interesting stuff going on. I had boring house stuff, boring family stuff going on. Love my family.
Well, it's certainly interesting for me listening to that. I wouldn't want to be a part of it, but it's interesting nonetheless.
I'm never selling a house. I will burn this house to the ground before I sell it, because I cannot go through that again.
You have found your forever home, for better or for worse.
Yes. Forcibly forever home. So now that we are back here and it's been a while, what kind of episodes are we going to start recording? What do you have in mind for topics? So I'm excited. I feel like I have so many important opinions that I want to be very loud and vocal about, and I have nobody to shout them and scream them at without the podcast.
Well, yeah, consider this your echo chamber, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think you put me on the spot there for one thing. You didn't realize we were going to be recording our strategy session.
Oh no, it's just this is, if it's nothing, it's nothing. I thought we could kind of ideate.
I think there's a topic that's top of mind for me right now, and maybe this will be next week or the week after, but maybe dealing with indecisive business partners, we'll call them, dealing with some folks on my end who like to make decision by committee. And
it's the worst.
Maybe you can combat that.
I want to listen to that episode because, well, I think everybody's workplace is bureaucratic to one degree or another, sometimes excessively so.
Yes.
That's a great one. I like that.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for that, I guess, or an ear out.
Yeah.
What about you?
My big one, and this is solely based on everything in the news. I don't want this show to be political. I feel like sometimes we're kind of on the verge. The whole union thing, the whole move towards unionization, Starbucks, Amazon, the whole rail union thing, and the results, not the results of, but the aftermath of rail events after. I feel like the unionization of a workforce can have a very big impact on not just how much money somebody makes, but also their work-life balance. unions might strike for or demand more vacation days, more sick days. So it's an interesting topic. It's an appropriate topic for this show, and it's just a lot of stuff going on these days about it, and I would love to dig into it a bit. So that's a big one for me.
Well, I look forward to that.
Yeah.
But what I'm also looking forward to is hearing about this toilet, Brian.
You want to do the toilet thing now? I can totally do the toilet thing.
Well, do you want to do it after the break? Because right now is where we would intro into some smooth music, right? That's where this is?
See, thank you for remembering. I forgot completely that we did that. So, yes, break time.
There you go.
We'll be right back.
And the music has been playing already.
That's true, yeah.
Note to editor.
If I can even edit that well, I honest to God, I probably forgot. There's 1,000 little tips and tricks about the right way to edit audio. I forgot all of them. I got, this is going to be the roughest cut ever.
Well, what can you do? It's our first one back. Everyone's rusty.
Yeah. All right. So this is my toilet story, and this is the kind of hard-hitting stuff that we needed like damn near a year to come up with from a content perspective. So buckle up for this. Question for you, John. In terms of how big is your bathroom?
I thought you were about to ask how big is my toilet. Well, so the bathroom that is attached to our bedroom is large enough. You could do a split in there. Let's put it that way.
There you go. Not
that I'm doing very many splits.
I'm a very bad. I'm not good at eyeballing distances. So everything I think about is if I laid down, could I lay down comfortably? If the answer is yes, it's at least 6 feet. That's kind of my rule of thumb.
That's a good way to look at it. I kind of use the same logic when I'm going vertically. So I look at, I measure it by a basketball net, or, I'm about 5'10", so go up. Yeah, I think that's a fair way to approach it.
I would say I've lived in a number of apartments in my life. Most of the places I've been, I have not had a comfortable laying down bathroom, right? You got a lot of small apartments, small bathrooms, fair?
Yes. Yeah, no, this is the first bathroom I've had in my entire life to where I could lay comfortably on the floor. So I could have one Brian across.
There you
for
go.
Sure.
One Brian of measurement. Very good.
That is a new unit of measurements. Americans will use anything but the metric system. I just picture like when Brits are talking about it, it's like, 2 stone and whatnot. I have no idea what that means. I'm sure folks.
I don't know. I assume I don't care how many stone you weigh. I just feel like you're big regardless. Like stone just feels hefty.
I picture like the MedRx, the World Strongman competition. Those big like those. Yeah, I picture one of those. It's like, that's 1 stone. Okay, so 2 of them. That's a lot of stone.
That's a lot of stone right there.
Too much stone.
So here, second question: in your bathroom, where is your trash can?
So we have one next to the toilet, and then one in the vanity, whatever, where our sinks are. So for when you're brushing your teeth, cleaning your ears out, you just got it right under there, as opposed to having to walk next to the toilet.
See, that's my issue, and oddly enough, the concept I want to talk about here. I've always had less than a Brian's worth of space in a bathroom, so I've only ever had one trash can. It's always been next to the toilet.
Less than a Brian's worth.
It's just a Brian's worth.
I like our new unit of measurement.
Yeah, like 3/4 of a Brian's worth is probably the biggest bathroom I had in an apartment, or even my townhouse as well. Right? I never had a whole Brian, so I've always had the trash can directly next to the toilet. Now in the new house, there's a Brian's worth of space between the toilet and the sink. Like I had, and there's probably 2 Brian's across, maybe 2.5 Brian's across. It's a long bathroom.
That's a long bathroom.
It really is. And where is my trash can? Sucker's still next to the damn toilet. Now, if I'm at the sink, let's say I'm brushing my teeth, I run out of toothpaste, got to throw that toothpaste away. I'm walking 3 Brian's away to throw an empty tube of toothpaste out, and walking 3 Brian's back to open a new one. why am I doing this?
You're getting your steps in.
I am getting my steps in.
That's why.
I'm getting my steps in, but it's like, why am I doing this? And at the end of the day, I have my trash can next to my toilet because I've always had my trash can next to the toilet. And maybe that made sense years and years ago in that first tiny apartment with a half a Brian of space in the bathroom. But I'm not there now, and I'm letting decisions that made sense for a younger me dictate what I do today. Now that seems like a topic more appropriate for the show, yeah?
Wow, that was a great transition. I didn't even see that coming in terms of the metaphor that you were describing there.
3 months ago, I woke up in the middle of the night like toilets. I gotta call John about toilets to get the podcast back together. Wife wakes up. I'm divorcing you immediately.
Well, it's like when people
ridiculous.
Well, it's like when people wake up and they like feverishly like, I have to text myself this memo or I have to write this note, and then you look the next morning and it's like ravioli with Hershey syrup on it. It's like, that was an awful idea. Why did I write that down?
The difference between insanity and genius is I actually followed through and I'm recording it right now.
There you go. There you go. Well, so to backtrack a little bit, that's a really good topic. I like that.
Yeah.
Not letting habits or decision making approach from your younger years dictate how you live the rest of your life. We should be evolving, adapting.
Yeah, and I have a real example too. I'm going to go to my wife with this one. So my wife has had a number of jobs, right? She had a number of roles throughout her career. She started her professional career working at Vanguard, right? She's doing the finance, doing the retirement plan thing, kind of managing money for people.
Did she have to take like the tests when she joined?
I think, like certifications and things I know she did.
Yeah.
And probably a boating course because Vanguard is like freakishly obsessed with boating.
Well, their name comes from a ship that was the Vanguard.
Oh, I didn't even know that. There you go. And if you're there for a certain number of years, they give you like a compass. It's weird. They have a hard on for sea life. I don't know. Hard on for seamen. I know that. That's Vanguard in a nutshell.
My last company gave us out a compass at the beginning of the year to, it was something along the lines of follow our North Star, which funny enough, I mean, I think our North Star is a pretty common business term, we'll say, when it comes to vision, but just the compass reference, it's like I'm having flashbacks right now.
I guess guiding star, guiding principle, North Star. Yeah, I guess that's common enough. But yeah, so she worked at Vanguard for a number of years. She was good at what she did. She wasn't happy, so she wanted to leave. And she went to basically a smaller version of Vanguard, right? So on one hand, you could say maybe it's the people you work with that you're not happy with. Maybe it's your boss. I think a lot of people who leave jobs leave because of their boss. But at the end of the day, she left one company to go to one that was very similar to it, and that might seem very nonsensical. But much like me putting my trash can next to my toilet, she was making a move because she had made that move before, right? She knew she could work in that industry. She knew that she would be successful in making that shift. But what happened? She ended up not happy again, right? And for the same reasons, because it was the role that didn't click with her personally. And I wonder how many people do that, right? You get locked into a career. You feel like I'm developing this niche perspective, this niche ability, and you feel pigeonholed and locked into it. And that's not a great thing. It's like throwing good money after bad. Same thing with time. You're throwing good time, the future, what you could be doing, after bad, basing it on what you had done yesterday. And that doesn't make much sense, right?
There's definitely a level of comfort associated with that decision. It's the safe choice because you've worked in that industry or succeeded in that industry or business before. But if you're not happy and it's not providing satisfaction, it's going to be scary to make a huge drastic change. But until you do that, you're likely not going to be happy. You can change the setting, you can change the people, but ultimately if you're not fulfilled or satisfied, it's going to be tough to find that.
Yeah, and a lot of those changes you make, if it's a small incremental change, can you really increment your way to happiness, or do you need a drastic change to kind of get a bite at that happiness apple?
I think there's also an angle of if she left and went to somewhere that was offering her more money to do the same type of job or the same type of work, you almost sacrifice your happiness.
We call that pulling a John.
Yeah, right?
That's what you did at that. We worked together,
Yep.
and then you're like, peace out. I'm making like 20% more.
Yeah, but at the same time, if I was unhappy there, I was only sacrificing. I guess I was trying to quantify it to where, I'm not saying I was unhappy there, just saying that if I was, I would be sacrificing a portion of my happiness for a paycheck. And yeah, granted, there's a big philosophical debate or question that comes with that, but I think we're all calculating that number in our head to where, well, that's the number I want to have. That's my earning potential, or that's what I want to make. And I'm willing to put up with so much bullshit in exchange for that. And this sounds like a scenario in terms of your wife's example there, to where it wasn't necessarily something that made her feel better because she earned more money. It was just the safe choice because she knew she could do that work.
I'm gonna put a warning in here that I'm gonna do total first world problems talk right here.
Okay, thank you for setting it up.
Yeah, that's one of the issues that I have. It's the market we live in, right? The capitalist system that we live and work in. It is very, very easy to boil everything down to dollars and cents because you're working for a paycheck. You need that money to buy a house, buy food, buy shelter, not die. But it's also very short-sighted. The human experience is so much more than just earning money, but we're so monofixated on it that that's what goes through your head. And you start to feel guilty. Like, if I'm not earning as much as I can in this free market system, am I doing myself and my family a disservice? And it can be very easy to say yes, and we shouldn't, right? I think a lot of cultures are a bit more workaholic. Japan is a very workaholic place, right? People work excessive hours. It's all about climbing the corporate ladder. It's all about making money. And there's a lot of depression there, right? And a lot of people are very unhappy. So is that really a good work-life balance objective, just to maximize the paycheck? Again, total first world problems. How far can I remove myself from that dollar focus if it makes me happier? Where's the line?
I completely agree. I 100% support that sentiment. That being said, it's a joke, adage, whatever you want to call it. Money can't buy happiness, right? But have you ever seen an unhappy person on a jet ski? And I think that's kind of how we all think, right?
That's a good way to put it. Like, yeah, it's money can't buy happiness. Money can't buy happiness. The whole idea of that phrase is the more money you make, the less incremental happiness you get from it. If you're very, very rich and you're still chasing more and more wealth, incrementally, you're not getting happier from more and more wealth. But people who have nothing, damn well are going to be happy to have something. So we've
exactly.
Yeah, it's a good phrase. I like the phrase. It has truth to it, but we've twisted and perverted it to mean something that it doesn't anymore.
And there's a bell curve associated with that too, right? You get to a certain point and you've earned so much money to where additional income, extra money, earning potential, whatever it is, isn't going to make you any happier. You've already reached that pinnacle of happiness because once you hit that, I think we've talked about this on the pod. If not, we've discussed talking about this on the pod. The idea of, I think it's like, studies have shown like it's about like 150,000 a year or something like that, is where anything more than that, it's not going to create that much more, quality of life, or you're not going to be happier. And actually, now that I say it out loud, 150, especially in today's economy, isn't enough. It's probably closer to like $300,000, $500,000. Once you earn past that, your quality of life isn't going to improve that much more unless you're living a celebrity lifestyle and private jets and all that stuff. But
150 was definitely not inflation adjusted.
Yes, that was not adjusted for inflation.
No, but it's true. Like if you have so much money, let's just, I don't know what the number is. It's not 150 anymore. It's probably a lot higher, but you have enough money to buy whatever discretionary thing you'll want. Once you're there, what's the next? Let's go back to Brian's bathroom. Is my next step to buy a gold toilet? Like, because I can? I'm not really happy. It's just it's a gold toilet. That's fun for a minute. But yeah, there's no.
You're still sitting down. You're still taking a shit.
Yeah, it's like there's a point where you have money for your needs, you have money for your security, you have money for as much discretionary fun as you can have. Yeah, at that point, stop chasing. But even before that, if I have enough that I'm living comfortable, my family's taken care of, do I really want to stress myself out in a job that I hate? How do I justify that to myself just because I'm making more money? It doesn't feel like a good justification to me.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because it almost felt like we were teetering on the edge of, well, you have to suck it up and just earn money to be happy, and I don't think that's our ethos at all.
Yeah.
I think it's more a matter of finding fulfillment, satisfaction in what you have, in what you do, in what you need, in what you're able to provide, I should say, and finding kind of the joys in life outside of the bullshit of work. That's all I can call it. And the happiest people are the people who know how to unplug, turn off, and forget about it. Yeah. And maybe some people like to work, and if that's okay too. But I don't think that this is necessarily the pod for you. No. If we're getting any new listeners, right?
I don't understand them, and I know people like that. I know what we've talked about that on very old episodes. This is the point where I would say I'm going to put the old show number in the show notes. I'm not going to do that because I'm too lazy. I always say I'm going to, I never do. I am not going to put this in the show notes, but I remember we talked about a long time ago my first job out of college where coworker had a baby and somebody else boasted that they were back to work the day after their son was born. It's like that was some kind of weird flex for them. It's like, I win capitalism. I don't give a shit about my son. It's like, what?
The mother of your child is likely still in the hospital.
Yeah. No, it's insane. But some people are like, I don't get it. I don't understand that mindset. But people are like that. And if there's anybody listening to the show that is like that and we get them to even possibly reconsider what's important in their lives, I think we've achieved something important with that.
That's a really good point. And even if we don't get them to reconsider their personal choices, their, what they take pride in, consider what you say and how it affects other people, because not everyone's running on the same track that you are or is in the same race that you are. Other people are just trying to get by, and that's okay too. We all don't need to be the most ambitious person in the room who's bragging about their likely daddy issues son.
No, I think you're right. So look, man, we're all just trying to be happy. We're all trying to get along this human race of ours, and different paths for different people. My wife, just to circle back on that, the happy ending there, she did finally figure out, hey, I'm in this wheel of going around and around at a job I hate, an industry I don't like. Why am I doing it? She's actually going back to school to be a teacher now, and that's something it's so far away from the financial world that she spent a good amount of time in, and I think she's going to be a lot happier for it.
Do they still teach using like the fake coins and stuff? I remember like learning what a penny was and what a nickel was. And all I can think of is your wife just having like PTSD, where she's like, oh my God, I can't look at money the same way
I can't
anymore.
do this again. It's too real.
I'm not going to talk to them about accounting.
Oh God, that'd be horrible. That'd be hilarious and also very sad.
Just like I forget what movie it is or whatever, but you just hear like the wah, 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 like just this flashing red, and she's like, "Oh God!" Like it's like apocalypse.
I just come home and she's curled in a closet going Roth IRA, 401k, Roth IRA, 401k,
mutual funds. Oh God!
So, rough day at school today. I feel very guilty because I know nothing about proper investing, and I'll ask her like, what should I do with this money? Like I have a Vanguard account, and it's like I feel like I'm drawing her back into a world she fought desperately to get out of.
Well, don't say that, because I'm about to be texting you and be like, hey, can you ask your wife what her opinion is on this? What does she think about the late great Jack Bogle?
We actually have a number of books because I guess when you work it, they give you like books by the guy or ghost written, but at least it's his face on the cover. Beautiful man that he is. Not really.
That almost sounds cultish at this point. It's like you got to read the founder's 7 books that he wrote, half of which are from the perspective of a life coach. It's like, that sounds weird, man.
Well, again, I will not be putting this in the show notes, but remember way back when we did an episode on corporate cults. That might actually have been like the second to last episode we did, or maybe even the last episode. People are listening. Of course, you did one on that. It was last week. Yeah, corporate cults are a thing, and I feel like Vanguard in a lot of ways fits that bill.
Yeah, so I'm glad you mentioned that because Corporate Cults was actually released in June of 2022. Unfortunately, when you're on Spotify, it doesn't tell you the episode number, and that's what I have open. That's the platform I have open. So, yeah, if you're somebody who's just making your way through the entire catalog and you just kind of caught up, yeah, it was only a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we just talked about this, Brian.
Yeah. Only a couple weeks ago we talked about this very topic.
I totally remember that conversation.
Well, that's everything I have. I think this was a nice, light, kind of easy return back into the saddle. I feel good about this. You feel good about this?
The bitch is back, man.
Yes.
The bitch is back. You know, just are we allowed to use any that's not royalty free at all. So if we're playing the bitch is back in the background, which we're not because I don't have a copy of that, it's not royalty free.
We'll turn the outro music down and you start playing it now. Now we can outro. Thanks for tuning in again to the Big Balance Podcast. And, as always, please help us out by liking, subscribing, and leaving us a rating or review wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time.
I got so fixated on the toilet.